You may think we know quite a lot about our home planet by now, but there are still plenty of things that scientists haven't discovered about Earth. One of the most exciting discoveries that could change everything would be drilling into the core of our planet. We may have managed to get to the Moon and Mars, but actually reaching the center of Earth presents its own unique challenges. If we were to drill through Earth's core, what might we find? How long would it take? And what would happen if we accidentally triggered a massive catastrophe? This is the sound of one drill breaking through the crust of our planet and falling into the fiery depths of the mantle. But how realistic is this scenario? And what would the consequences be for humanity? Let's take a closer look at the race to the center of the Earth. In order to drill through the entirety of our planet, we need to get past three very important layers. The first is the crust, which can range anywhere from 5 to 70 kilometers thick. It's also the easiest layer to penetrate since it's made mostly of solid rock. If we were able to drill all the way through the crust, we would reach the second layer, the mantle. Here is where things start to get tricky because the mantle is liquid. Despite being only slightly hotter than the core itself, the temperatures reach around 4,000 degrees Celsius. At this point, the drill would reach temperatures hot enough to melt rock and metal. In fact, at those temperatures, many materials that we use every day would simply turn to dust. Even if we somehow managed to build a drill capable of penetrating the mantle, it's likely that the immense pressure would crush it. The good news is that the mantle isn't all that deep. It ends at a depth of around 2,900 kilometers. That means that once we got past the mantle, we would finally reach the core. But how exactly does drilling through the center of the Earth work? Well, luckily for us, scientists have already figured out what's inside the core. Using seismic readings and other tools, they've determined that the inner core is made of iron and nickel. And while the outer core is also made of the same metals, it's in a liquid state. The outer core begins at a depth of 2,900 kilometers and extends to 5,000 kilometers, making it almost twice as deep as the entire mantle. Once again, it seems that we've reached another unsurpassable obstacle. After all, drilling through the liquid outer core would be impossible without a way to stabilize it. Luckily for us, the inner core is once again solid. It starts at a depth of 5,000 kilometers and reaches all the way to the center of the Earth at 6,000 kilometers. The journey to the center of the Earth would be an incredible feat of engineering and science. And along the way, we would learn so much about our world. If we were to use today's technology, it would take more than 2,000 years to drill to the center of the Earth. That's because even our best drills can only make it through about 1 meter of rock per year. There's something else you should know about the center of the Earth. It's incredibly hot, reaching temperatures of over 6,000 degrees Celsius. That's hot enough to melt anything, including steel and tungsten, which has the highest melting point of any metal. Governments and private companies are investing millions of dollars into developing new technologies that could help us explore the Earth's core. For example, scientists at the Dresden University of Technology in Germany have developed a new type of drill that uses powerful lasers to blast through rock. This drill is much faster than traditional drills, capable of making a hole 10 times faster. With this new technology, it would only take about 200 years to drill to the center of the Earth. However, the heat generated by this process would be immense. To make matters worse, the deeper we drill, the higher the radiation levels become. Radiation would be an ever-increasing problem as we approach the center of the Earth. At some point, the radiation levels would become so high that it would be impossible for humans to survive. Well, according to some estimates, we would be able to drill about 4,000 kilometers before the radiation levels became too high to measure. So what would happen if we managed to drill all the way to the center of the Earth? What would we find? Well, according to some estimates, we would find a huge surprise, a gigantic ball of solid iron. In fact, the inner core is thought to rotate faster than the rest of the Earth by up to 1 degree per year. But that's not all. We would also find an even bigger surprise. At the very center of the Earth, there's a massive supervolcano. If we were to drill through the center of the Earth and trigger this supervolcano, It would cause a catastrophe that nobody has ever seen before. Lava would flow out of the volcano and cover the entire surface of the Earth. Cities would be destroyed, entire countries would be wiped off the map, and millions of people would lose their lives. Luckily, there's no need to worry about this happening anytime soon. Scientists have estimated that the supervolcano won't erupt for at least another 2 million years, so we have plenty of time to prepare. But what if we manage to drill through the center of the Earth accidentally? Well, that's also unlikely to happen anytime soon. The technology needed to drill through the center of the Earth simply doesn't exist yet. However, it's always possible that something could go wrong during the drilling process. A small mistake could trigger the supervolcano and cause the end of the world. It's a scary thought, but it's also what makes the quest to drill through the center of the Earth so exciting. Who knows what other amazing discoveries we might make along the way? Imagine all the knowledge we could gain about the history of our planet if we could just drill through the center of the Earth. The journey to the center of the Earth would be an incredible adventure. We would get to see amazing things that no human has ever seen before. We would learn so much about our planet and the universe around us, and we would make incredible discoveries that would change the world forever. Of course, there would be dangers along the way. The temperatures and radiation levels would be extreme, and the supervolcano could erupt at any moment. But the risks would be worth it because the rewards would be beyond anything we could have ever imagined. Now watch. It would take this long to drill a hole through the sun, or check out. Why do planes fly backwards when landing on an aircraft carrier?